For my fieldwork project, I walked around the neighborhood of my practicum site, which is in Covina, California. I chose that neighborhood because that's where I am a lot, and a lot of the clients that I see are from the neighborhood. So I really wanted to get a feel for the neighborhood that my clients are coming from. Um, And so the only other neighborhood that I'm kind of in is on school, and so I didn't want to focus on the neighborhood of on-campus housing. I wanted to focus on where I feel like the people I run into, the people that I'm called to serve and see and get to know that are the most different from me. I wanted to go there to that neighborhood. So um, what's interesting about Covina is it seems very blue collar, very kind of middle class. So there were the neighborhood around where I work. There's great homes. They look different, so it's kind of almost like the '80s ranch style. But the yards were taken care of, and the people are of all different ethnicities. So there seems to be sort of this pride, and this is my home, my space, whether it's owned or rented. Um, all the cars are Hondas, Toyotas. So that to me tells me that it's sort of middle class, maybe more blue collar, but a sense of pride. Um, no showy. It wasn't a neighborhood with flashy high rises or anything like that. And then walking to downtowns, passing a lot of the auto shops. There's mechanics and car lots. Some were boarded up, some were still running, and then that dumps you into um, you go past the train tracks, which is clean. The metro rail station right there is clean. And then you go into downtown and there's a plaza. So it seems very inviting at first. And so I think that the powers that be in Covina, the city council, the police officers, the government, it seems like they have a collective voice of this is our town, this is our community, be welcome here, have a family here. And so it was pretty quiet walking around during lunchtime, and I was surprised, but there were a lot of elderly out walking around with canes. And so that to me, the clue is they feel safe here. Um, there didn't seem to be a competition of ethnicities or that sense of I'm not safe here. Um, and ethnically, it's a lot of Hispanic, a lot of Asian, um, and white. In terms of the white population, the older population that were white, the younger people tended to be more Hispanic or Asian. And see a lot of African American, but within the ethnicities, there's such diverse. Like the one woman passed me, and she looked like, total hipster hitchhiker from the Northwest, and the next woman that passed me, same ethnic, but was very, more polished and very more edgy. So the styles are very different. And in the storefronts and shops, there's the men's fashion was kind of edgy. The women's fashion stores were like the vintage clothing side. There wasn't anything flashy or expensive about it. There was board shops, like snowboard shops. There was jewelry, not just fancy jewelry, but more antique jewelry and ethnic jewelry. There's toy shops, different kinds of pubs. There's an Irish pub, there's a Mexican restaurant, there's a Taco Bell, there's an Italian place, there's a theater. So it definitely appealed to a lot of um, different people, a lot of different crowds. And so I went and I sat on a bench and just to kind of look. And so it was interesting to see that there didn't seem to be like a lot of oppression or a lot of pain. I couldn't feel like the community pain. And I know in Covina, it's sort of, there's the lower class, it's low SES. And I understand that, and there's trauma in lots of backgrounds and neighborhoods, but it's as if the town decided this is going to be a welcoming place. So in the plaza, there are signs about all the library programs and the county or the city programs of after school and family nights and the farmers market. So it's definitely a place where they decided We want everyone to gather. Um, and so versus when I'm like more kind of downtown LA area, it feels like the conflict is high. Like there's a competition of territory and turf that was very much absent in Covina. So not necessarily a sense of cooperation of all the people, but I think it was interesting coming from the government side policy. So even the police presence, I saw 6 different cop cars go by. It may have been the same car, but it didn't feel oppressive. It just felt safe, felt kind of normal. So people can be who they are. So I see God's fingerprints there in that sense, to where a lot of different kinds of people, different ages, different backgrounds have been able to live together and really like live in downtown, because there's law offices, there's a dental office, there's a medical office. So it's not just the downtown that's trying to draw in external people with lots of money. Like I see it's a downtown that really is for the people, so people can go downtown and just be there and live there. There is something for everyone. So I think I see that as a good model of true community, at least the option for it. In one of the readings, I think it's Schroeder, chapter 1, talking about Charles de Foucault, says direct preaching, he wrote, was not the method Jesus wanted in his situation. Says we must go very slowly and gently get to know them and make friends with them. I feel like in downtown Covina, I could sit there and I can kind of begin to make friends, and people would be open to that. One woman came up and said I had very nice handwriting. I'm writing down notes, and it was like chicken scratch. I could barely read my own handwriting, and it was just interesting encounter. I didn't get to go into much about if she had lived there for a long time, but just that sense of it's very approachable. I was approachable. I feel like other people are approachable. The shops are approachable. It's just a very approachable place. So underneath, there's a lot of brokenness and pain, but there was a sort of global sense of community and appreciation. So that was my reflection. I'm excited to continue to kind of hang out downtown Covina, as you know, I'm on my lunch break, because that's the community that I'm serving in. Those are my people that are coming into my door. So I hear the personal stories, I hear the personal pain, I see the raw frustrations that are coming from this neighborhood. But I also see at least the attempts to maintain a cohesive community. Sort of the best parts of each group, of each generation that have been there, are trying to stay connected. So that's kind of a beautiful thing, and it teaches me that wherever there are maybe turf wars, there are beautiful things that both sides have to offer things that all ethnic groups can provide, to say, I choose to live here in peace with you, to talk with you. So that's just a way gross overgeneralization. I spent, 45 minutes sitting on a park bench in downtown Covina. But those are just my impressions, my senses, my intuition, how I saw people interacting with one another, very friendly. So those are just my impressions, and so it was overall a very positive experience.